everybody, and welcome to Basketball Fever. In the next 30 minutes, we'll get you ready for the Big 12 hoop season, which tips off this weekend for most of the teams. And we're going to break down the Jayhawks, the Tigers, and the Wildcats. We'll also look at some of the other Big 12 title contenders. My old buddy Frank Boal joins me live in studio. Here we are, man. Ready or not, it is here. Hoops. I love it.
Here we are, and you and I normally talk about the other ball, the football. The ball has...
We got some of that to talk about, too.
That's right. Well, the shape has changed in a football. That's for sure. From
How about these Kansas Jayhawks? Frank, you know, they were picked second in the preseason poll, and I don't know why. I mean, six-time defending champions. Still the favorite?
To me, they're the favorite. Okay, it's just like a heavyweight boxing champion. All right, you better knock him out in the ring if you want to take over his title belt. And no one has been able to do that with Kansas. I was surprised. Now, I knew Kansas State was going to have a good basketball season, especially when we looked at it preseason. But to have them ranked above Kansas, I was very surprised.
Yeah, when you got Selby, I mean, when he jumped in here, man, there he goes right there, just bombing away. Anyhow, let's hear what the coach has to say. Here's Bill Self.
Well, I really like my guys. But even when you really like them, you go through periods of time that you don't like them as much. And I've kind of gone through that period of time with my guys. Not in a mean-spirited way, but just to try to get us to the point where we understand there's only one way you should do it. Taking a day off here or a day off there, away from that way, it does nothing but create bad habits.
I'll tell you what, Frank, I can't wait to get this season started because I really like what the Missouri Tigers have. I like what Mike Anderson's doing. He's finally got some depth. He's got Ratliff down inside. I think they're going to be tough to handle this year.
Yeah, they're tough. They have great guard play, too, Jack, and that's really important. They should be undefeated. They should have beaten Georgetown at the Sprint Center. Terrific basketball game. Didn't get a call at the end and lose it in OT. But Missouri's the biggest surprise for me, okay? I know they were picked fifth preseason. Maybe that was a little low, but they have been playing lights out right now. And that frenetic style they have, Jack, is really tough to defend against if you're the opposition.
40 minutes of hell, isn't it? Isn't that what they call it?
That's
something like that. Anyhow, here's Mike Anderson talking about his Tigers.
I think the intensity just goes up another couple of notches, and we got some guys hadn't experienced that. They've had some big games since they've been here. The Georgetown game, of course, and the Vandy game, the Old Dominion game, and the Illinois game. So hopefully those games will help these guys as we get into Big 12 play, because that's what you're going to see, and it don't matter who you're playing.
All right, the Kansas State Wildcats picked to win it all in the preseason, number 3 in the nation, and they've sort of stumbled out of the gate. They've lost 3 games, and everybody's kind of saying, well, who are these guys? But I thought the expectations just way too much for this team to begin with.
Yeah, I think so, too. And what has happened now with the Curtis Kelly and Jacob Poulin and Wally Judge, I think they're back at ground zero, Jack, and I think now they're going to work their way back up. They have a lot of talent on this basketball team. They have a great coach in Frank Martin. I think they will make their way back up. But, really, in some ways, they may look back on it and say the things that happened early in this season to disrupt what we were trying to do may have been the best thing that happened to them, because I think their expectations are way too high for this.
I agree with you. We'll get Frank on here in a minute. But let's take a look at that preseason poll, the way it looked when it all came out. There you have it. Kansas State at the top, Kansas, Texas, Baylor, and Missouri. I think maybe Baylor. Baylor might be. I didn't know what to think about Baylor. They're okay, but they're going to be okay. Ladarius Dunn. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, Ladarius Dunn there. I think they missed FKU, though. I don't know if there's any doubt about that, and I think they're learning to adjust without him. I think when it's all said and done, Baylor will be back in the top 6 somewhere in the Big 12. And I think only 6 of those teams are going to the NCAAs. I don't think anybody else except top 6, and we'll talk about those 6 as we go along here in the program.
All right, there are 10 good teams in this conference. There's no question about it. There are 2 bad teams. Texas Tech and Oklahoma are no good. Anyhow, here are the top 5 or the 5 teams in the poll right now, and Baylor's on the outside looking in.
Yeah, I think Baylor will eventually join these 5 teams. I think all 6 of those teams will become NCAA teams. We can talk about it a little bit later. I'm going to talk a little bit about Texas. I really think Texas is a good basketball team. Number 2, they have to travel to Kansas to play at Kansas, but they only have to play Kansas once. But they play both Missouri and and Kansas State on their home court at the
All right, Texas A&M, Turgeon's done a wonderful job. He really has. And Frank, you look at this team, they were number 1 against scoring defense. They gave up only 65 points a game, and they're going to be good again this year. There's no question about it. They're off to a great start. I think they've lost only 1 game here in the non-conference.
Right, they lost 3 key seniors. They are outperforming their expectations. I think Mark Turgeon's a heck of a coach. I think he's a great game day coach, too, a great coach who makes adjustments as the basketball game goes along. I think that's his strongest point, and he's got a much better basketball team than anybody thought he would have.
All right, Oklahoma State, Travis Ford, the former Missouri player. You know, I don't know about this team yet, but anytime you go to Gallagher, you're going to have problems, aren't you? And K-State's got to open there Saturday.
Yeah, right now they miss James Anderson, a great player that left last year. They also miss Marshall Moses, but Keaton Page is really keeping them afloat right now, and that is a tough place to open the Big 12 basketball.
And Marshall Moses, too. I mean, that guy is good, but I like K-State. I like K-State Saturday down there.